What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? Welcome back to another Wednesday night with the Sanchez Show. As always, I'm your host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend of Two Games. See, I got my brother Trip Young with me. Trip, how you doing today, bro?
Man, I can't complain. It's been a good day.
That's the most important thing, because I mean, we could complain, but who gonna really care, right? We got to get to it
Exactly.
regardless.
Yes, sir.
Listen, with that being said, it is Wednesday, January 7th. We got wild card weekend we got to get into. We got NBA. There's some good matchups tonight. Denver and Boston actually just got started. I got them on in the background. Lakers and Spurs. I know somebody commented about that. Shout out to the comment section. It is buzzing. Before we get started as well, just a reminder, guys, make sure you are subscribed not only to the Sanchez Show, but also Real Fans Real Talk. Sanchez Show, we're live every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Real Fans Real Talk, we're live Mondays at 7 p.m. Make sure you like, subscribe, shoot us a comment, send anything you want, suggestions, whatever, send them over because we're about to get to that part of the season where it's really only NBA at this point. So, you might want a topic for us to get into. And sometimes we know how our supporters do, Trip. Sometimes it gets messy in the comment section. So,
Yes,
send
sir.
those over as well. Also, there was one other thing. Oh, we're going to talk about it off air, but be on the lookout. I reached out to Trip. I told Will, I think it would be a good idea for us to do a live during one of these playoff games. We're going to figure out what playoff game we can probably get done. So we'll see if we can try to get it done either, if not this weekend, definitely next weekend, but we'll see. That being said, Trip, let's get into it, man. The comment section is buzzing. It's wild card weekend. It's set. Ain't no more pretenders. These are all contenders at this point. No matter how we might feel about them, they are contenders. We had some coaching news already that broke that we got to get to. And of course, people are going to start to want to talk about the draft now that we know what the order is there. But with that being said, let's go to the comment section. Let's see who was first in here tonight. It looks like it was Ron Ron. Ron Ron wants to know who's more deserving of the NFL MVP this year, Matthew Stafford or Drake May?
Statistically, Matthew Stafford is better, but I'm gonna be honest. If I had a vote for MVP, I would go with Drake May.
So I agree with you. This is a debate that we've had for quite some time. We talked about the middle of the season when Drake May was really starting to take off, and I said it then. I think team success has to play a factor in, it. And I know it's an individual award, but when you look at the NFL, one, it normally goes to quarterbacks, and two, it normally goes to quarterbacks that are on teams that are ranked number one and number two within their conference. Will, once you're ready, give me a thumbs up, bro. Um, so in this case, though Matthew Stafford has had the better season, more total yards, passing, more touchdowns. Uh, Drake May is the quarterback of the team that's number two in the AFC.
Mhm.
And if you want to break down the talent around him, it's fair to say that Matthew Stafford has more talent around him, right? He's playing with Puka Nakua, who most people feel is one of the best receivers in the NFL. You got Devontae Adams, who led the league in touchdowns. You got an all-pro caliber running back in Kyron Williams. So if we're going to be fair, if we're going to say, well, the statistics lean towards Stafford, that's also because the supporting cast leans towards Stafford, right? Drake May doesn't have that benefit of weapons around him.
Yeah.
So I think in this case, I agree. I think it's Drake May. I also think you have to factor in the jump from last year to this year. We expected the Rams to be a playoff team. We're not surprised that the Rams are here. And at one point this year, Rams were in contention for the best record. We weren't surprised by any of that. What we are surprised about is that the Patriots, who won 4 games last year, won 14 games this year. They made a 10-game leap. And
Hmm.
outside of Stephon Diggs and drafting Travion Henderson, they didn't make any major moves to that roster. There is no move that you could point to and say, hey, that changed the New England Patriots. It's been lower level moves, good players, of course, because it's a good team. You don't win 14 games without being a good team. But
Yeah.
again, he don't have the impact players around him the same way that Stafford does. So I think it's got to be Drake May. I think Drake May is going to win it. I would
Yeah.
love to know. Yeah, Trip.
It's difficult, even though, like I said, it's not like it's crazy the difference in as far as stat wise goes. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the Rams being in fifth place, the Patriots would be number one in the AFC. To just don't have the tiebreaker over Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying, and then everything you mentioned as far as the weapons go, like yeah, um, as far as Drake May, he has Stephon Diggs, but again, this ain't Buffalo Stephon
No.
Diggs. You know what I mean? So, and that's respectfully because he's still balling. You know what I'm saying? This season, he's still out there balling. But yeah, when you got Puka and Devontae Adams over there, the running game, um, is really good. Even though Henderson and Stevenson did a good job this year, but they still got the edge, in LA.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of talent, they got the edge, and you can't again discount the jump in wins. Ron also had the second comment of the night. Do you like the Bears already talking Super Bowl? Hell no. I don't like them talking Super Bowl because one, the Bears have not won a Super Bowl in 40 years. They haven't been to a Super Bowl in almost 20 years. Um, they've got a rookie head coach, second year quarterback, a very young team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you should just be happy that you made the playoffs, but I think you should be focused on trying to get your first playoff victory together before you start looking ahead, talking about what you think this team is going to be.
Yeah. That's just crazy to me that y'all would even say some nonsense like that. Y'all haven't, your quarterback hasn't even been to the playoffs yet. He hadn't even played in a playoff game to know, because again, regular season is one animal. When you coming from college going into the pros, the playoffs is a whole other animal in itself. But then to advance in the playoffs again and again to get to a Super Bowl, but then to play in a Super Bowl, nah, bro. Y'all need to focus on winning this first game before y'all start talking about Super Bowl. You haven't even won a playoff game with this unit, and y'all talking about the Super Bowl. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I think it's a little wild. I'm surprised Ben Johnson would allow it to even happen because Ben Johnson was on some playoff teams in Detroit, and I'm sure he knows how quickly that can get away from you and how quickly you can get ahead of yourself. So I'm a little surprised that they would even have that conversation. Also, considering you're playing a division rival who, for the most part, has always had your number, why would you even put that bulletin board material out there? Why would you give them, more fuel to the fire? It's already a playoff game. The last thing you need is the Packers saying, "Oh, they're already looking ahead. They're looking past us." You know what I'm saying? So I don't like that talk as well. Like I said, Will, once you're ready, give me a thumbs up, bro. As always, got my brother Will Gordon in the building. Will was good.
What they do, baby? What up, fellas? How y'all feeling?
Good,
what up,
man.
supporters?
Chilling, bro. Chilling. The comment section is buzzing right now. We'll stay with this topic right here. There's talk of the Bears already putting it out there about their Super Bowl team, their Super Bowl contender. What are your thoughts on this type of talk leading up to a wild card weekend? Again, for a franchise that has not won a Super Bowl in 40 years, has not been to the Super Bowl in 20 years, and you got head coach making his first playoff start, quarterback making his first playoff start, and a lot of other guys who've never been in the playoffs.
They talking about the Super Bowl?
That's what the rumor is, that they out there making comments about them being Super Bowl contenders.
I mean, if you in there, you gotta think that every team's supposed to think they're a Super Bowl contender right now. But if they out here making statements and whatnot, more power to them. I'm gonna say. I mean, if you could talk it, you better be able to walk it, though. You know what I mean? Because I mean, really, that might be them saying, look around the NFC, and who are we really scared of? And really, is nobody. You know what I mean? There's
not in a position to say that.
Yeah,
but but you know what? I want that. I want you to talk. If inside the building, that's supposed to be what you're talking about.
I don't agree with that at all. I mean, listen, are they a dominant juggernaut in the NFC? No, but to say there's nobody that you should respect, the Eagles are defending champions.
I said we're scared of.
All right. You should be scared of anybody because obviously once you get in between the lines, anything can happen, right? Everybody's a professional. But when I look at the NFC, you got the defending champs and a team that's been to 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls in the playoffs. You got the Rams, who's another champion there. You got the 49ers, who've been to 2 of the last 5 Super Bowls. So you got good teams in the NFC. Now, is there a clear-cut juggernaut? No. But in terms of like pecking order, if we listed the teams that we think could come out of the NFC, I don't think any of us will have the Bears 1, 2, or 3.
Nah,
So,
but we don't gotta have them there though. That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
but I don't. To me, I'm not a fan of a team that's talking crazy when you haven't won a playoff game. It'd be different if this was a team that, like, every year, like if Buffalo said something like this, I could respect it because Buffalo been to AFC Championship games. Buffalo's been in some playoff wars, right? So they know what it takes to win a playoff game. Caleb and them dudes, they just started playing meaningful football about a month ago.
All I'm saying is I ain't got a problem with it at all.
I feel it. Trip, what's your thoughts?
So all right. So the problem is again, one, like I would have a problem if the Chiefs even said it at this point of the year, and I'm always confident in Patrick Mahomes if they were in the playoffs, just because it's like, you still got to show and prove. Like, all right, whatever, you're gonna say that, but can you actually do that? The Bears, it's not like, the Bears ain't just running through the NFCs to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. That team has had too many ups and downs this season. That y'all shouldn't be out here talking like this, because this is gonna be the reason why y'all go home in the wild card round.
I just think that I understand their confidence. I like the matchup for them. Packers are really banged up right now. Jordan Love ain't played in a few weeks. This is his first game since the concussion. And if you're the Bears, of course you feel confident. This is a division rival that you played 2 close games with this year. So you know you can hang with them on the field. But I think this is one of them situations that if you've Ben Johnson, you got to tell the team, yo, you cannot create bulletin board material, especially for a rival that's dominated us for most of this rivalry. Like, don't create anything extra in this situation. Just go out there and handle your business. But we're going to see how that plays out. Shout out to Squeeze. This obviously was the biggest news coming out of Week 18. Ravens lose. John Harbaugh loses his job. He is let go by the Ravens. There's already been reports that 7 teams have reached out to his agent. Right now, as of this morning, I saw that the Giants are the front runner for Harbaugh, that they're going all in to try to bring him in, and they're trying to schedule an interview with him. So, Trip, I'm going to start with you. Since you are not only a Giant fan, but a Raven fan, thoughts on Harbaugh getting fired? How do you like to fit if he lands in New York?
Okay, so thoughts on Harbaugh getting fired? I already made my peace with it. We spoke about it on Monday. You know what I'm saying? He did enough for Baltimore, brought us to the promised land, got a couple of MVP seasons, out of Lamar. So I'm okay with that. And I also felt like it was time for a change in Baltimore. With that being said, this is like an absolute best case scenario for me if he goes to the Giants, because one, Harbaugh is still one of the best coaches in football. 2, I think that his coaching style would work with the Giants and the pieces that they have. And it's like, all right, you just went from one of my teams to the other. I don't got to worry about you going to a team that I don't rock with or don't want you to go to and see you coaching them. If the Giants pull this off, I would absolutely be in full favor of that move. 100% put the stamp on that.
I feel you on that. Will, you had commented on Monday about Little Brother joining Big Brother staff in LA. Big Brother said today, not only did he speak highly of Little Brother, but he said, I actually hope he does go to the NFC. I hope he gets out of the AFC so I don't have to face him year in, year out. What's your thoughts on not only Harbaugh being let go, but also the immediate reaction of all these teams that are interested in seeing if he wants to come in and coach them?
It was probably time in Baltimore, I think if Lamar Jackson wanted him there, he'd still be the coach.
I 1,000% agree.
Come on. Yeah.
No, I agree.
I think if Lamar, because they asked him or one of his thoughts, and that tells me he didn't back him, because if you pretty much made a choice between coach and quarterback, and they made the right choice, if it's one or the other. But that's what I'm saying. If Lamar didn't want them to have to make that choice, they wouldn't have made that choice. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been a choice to make. Yeah. And should he have been, is he, as a coach, should he be fired or should he have been fired? He's done a lot as a head coach in this league, but because of what? Was it because of you? Because if we recall correctly, the Ravens hadn't made the playoffs for 4 out of 5 years before Lamar Jackson came into town, and John Harbaugh was on the hot seat then.
Yep.
So really, Lamar saved him. He saved his job when he came in and balled out halfway through that season, through his rookie season, and then we see what he became, a 2-time MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, it's like, how good of a coach are you? Now, is it his fault of all the ways the seasons have ended here the last few years? The drop passes, the fumbles, the things of that nature, are those his fault as a head coach? No, but at the same time, in this business, you know what I mean? It's what have you done for me lately? And if you continue to come up short time and time again, we can't keep running it back the same way. And the one thing we are going to do is, like, you heard the talk, which was probably all bullshit when you look at it at the end of the day, but all the talks about Lamar wanting to play somewhere else, that might have been talk, if it was real, just to kind of, that might have been some leverage. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to be. That might have been, if you look at it, that might have been some leverage saying, him or me at that point. It's a whole lot of stuff we don't know that happens behind the scenes, but on the surface, him leaving, him getting gone in Baltimore was due. Now, every team in the league wanting him. Of course, you're going to want him because of the success that the Ravens had as an organization the last 18 years that he was there. Now, do I expect him to go to his team, that like a losing team, and turn them around in the season? That's when we're going to see what kind of coach he really is, because he doesn't call plays on offense or defense.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? He's more of a CEO. And when you're going into losing situations, is that what you need? Can you be that kind of coach and turn the organization around when you're probably dealing with bare bones to start with? And I don't think he's that kind of head coach. A lot of teams going to look for him, but I don't expect him to be this savior to a franchise that everybody's acting like he's going to be.
There's a couple things, and I think you are right, Will. One, I highlighted this on Monday. I don't think the relationship with him and Lamar was at a great point right now. There was an article in the Baltimore Sun about 2 weeks ago where they were detailing like friction within that locker room between the two. And there was friction with Lamar and the front office in general because he felt like they handled his injuries incorrectly. So there was always that. And I said this on Monday, if Harbaugh comes back, then I think that the clock starts to tick on how long Lamar stays there. Because as you said, you're picking between player and coach. And if you side with the coach, it's only a matter of time before the player says, all right, I already know who you favor. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
The second part that I think gets overlooked a lot, Harbaugh had a lot of success. But keep in mind, the Raven team he took over was a veteran-laden team that was already pretty good. So to Will's point, he was never an X's and O's guy. He was more like the motivator and like I said, the CEO that overlooks everything. But he came into a situation that already had Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Joe Flacco was a young quarterback at the time, right? So he came into a situation that had some pieces, and it was almost like, if you do the right thing, this could be successful. As long as you don't overstep your boundaries, as long as you don't really tinker with too much. And he didn't have to. They had a veteran. Ray Lewis was the leader of that locker room. You just come in and you do what you need to do. For me, him going to the Giants would be interesting because how much of his staff is he going to be able to take with him?
Yeah.
Because like you said, you're going into a situation where you got to clean house and you got to change the culture around the Giants. Can I bring enough staff with me? Can I bring in the offensive coordinator I need, the defensive coordinator I need, the right guys that I need to make this work? Another piece of this that's pretty interesting. Everybody's talking about the Giants. It's a big market team, and everybody's going to be more interested in what the Giants do with it. Why wouldn't he take the Falcons job? Because the Falcons job might be more intriguing than the Giant job in terms of the pieces they already got in place. You already got Bijan. You got Drake London. You got Kyle Pitts. You got a defense that was number one in sacks this year. And in terms of a division, that's an easier division to try to conquer because, again, the winner of the South was just 8 and 9. Whereas to go to the NFC East, Eagles ain't going nowhere no time soon. You expect the Cowboys and Commanders to at least be respectable. So why would you take, and maybe this is my question for you, Will, if you had the choice, would you take the Atlanta job or would you take the Giant job?
Yeah, Me myself, I probably go to Atlanta. For the talent that you just named,
The
for
talent
one.
on the field or the talent in the city?
Hey now. Hey now. Hey, look, I like wings, you know. So I heard it's a pretty good. I heard Magic City is a good wing spot. You know what I mean? So I might frequent there. They might have a coach night if I was down there. But the way it is with Atlanta, with the players you named, the division, really the only team in the division, when I look around that division that's truly getting better is the Saints. Like
Yeah.
I'm not Carolina, you know, they
Tampa's good. They just dealt with a whole lot of injuries to major key players.
They're gonna have to make some tough decisions though.
but one of the things like with those major key players, like how much like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, how much more football do they have left in them?
Right.
Or they're gonna stay there and like Buka. And I know you got Buka and McMillan.
Yeah.
But really, you know, they were very inconsistent. So and you know, Baker's up and down. So I'm not like if I'm looking at the landscape of the division that I go to, the NFC East versus the South, I probably say that the South is the easier path to the playoffs.
I agree.
Now, what's the more attractive job? I'd probably have to say the bright lights in big city of being the head football coach in New York City is going to be an attraction for certain people also. So, you know what I mean? That's going to play into it. If it's me, I'm going to Atlanta.
I think
I'm going to the best running back in football. It's a lot of young talent on that team on both sides of the ball. And that's why Raheem Morris is gone, is because it's too much talent on that team
to be
for them to be with it. Yeah, to be hovering around 500. That's why I was surprised that they let the GM go, because he did a good job. He got the talent. It's just that you know, Morris didn't put it together, and he never has. Some guys are coordinators, you know, like here in my neck of the woods, like a lot of people in Cleveland, they're thinking, you know, a lot. It's not an attractive job, you know, unless you want to just coach Myles Garrett. It's not an attractive job, so they're thinking about they want to elevate Jim Schwartz from DC to head coach. He's an excellent DC, top 3 in the league, but he's not a head coach. You know what I mean? Some guys are just meant to be coordinators. You know,
I agree.
So
we talked about that on Monday when I said Steve Spagnuolo is a prime example of that. Spags is great as a defensive coordinator, not good as a head coach. The Atlanta situation is really intriguing though, because again, you're talking about, they led the league in sacks this year, and they had the rushing lead in Bijan. So it's like normally if you got that type of combination, that balance where you're able to run the ball and you're able to get to the quarterback as frequently as they are, you normally win a lot more games. How do you feel about the quarterback situation might change though? Because I don't know if Penix is the answer. And at least in New York, you feel like, hey, we got the young quarterback, we got the receiving neighbors, we got a pass rush here as well in New York that we got to just develop. Can we just get the other pieces in place? But in terms of path, I think Atlanta's path is a lot easier. Like I could see Atlanta with the right coach next year winning 11 or 12 games. It ain't even that crazy to think they'll win 3 more games just with better coaching.
Yeah.
Does anybody know where Atlanta is slated to draft?
They don't have a first round pick this year.
They don't have a first round pick?
No. They traded. So when they drafted those 2 defensive linemen last year, they traded back into the first round. The Rams actually own their pick in this year's draft.
So they have to pretty much either get somebody in free agency, a journeyman, or ride with Penix next year, no matter who they hire as head coach, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know. They're going to have to make a decision on Kirk Cousins and that money before they could even think about bringing another quarterback. Remember, Kirk got that contract last offseason. So depending on how much guaranteed money's still on there, they might take a crazy cap hit just for.
Did he get a 3-year?
It was it was a 3-year. So next year will be the last year. I don't know if he got any guaranteed money still on it. Yeah, fully guaranteed.
It's fully, yeah.
So
See,
they gonna
one thing I think about Atlanta and like where they will end up with a better head coach than like say Tennessee or say Cleveland is because of that talent. It's like they kind of have the advantage of like where everybody else is scraping to woo and wine and dine and outbid the other team for a coach. Atlanta has the luxury of sitting back and saying, well, we're the belle of the ball, really. You know, when you talk about those players you mentioned, when you say I got the most dynamic running back in football that's young and ready to go, you can you can pretty much, you know, you have that trump card that nobody else has. You know what I mean? You can and also you gotta one thing that's understated is Arthur Blank as an owner has been known to be a good person to work for. And that can go a long way as well. You know what I mean? I think Atlanta has the luxury of being I mean, they need to be aggressive, but I don't think they're not in scramble mode like everybody else is. Atlanta and the Giants. And the Giants aren't either, because the Giants have, like you say, they got a ton of talent offensively, a ton of young talent.
Yeah.
So those teams aren't going to be fighting. I think coaches might be like where everybody else is trying to get the coaches are trying to go to those two locations. You see what I'm saying?
I agree with that too. Yeah, I think they're both really, really good destinations. Like if you're trying to rebuild something, either one of those spots you can't go wrong because there's talent in either location. Obviously, there's the appeal of New York, but I think there's a quicker path to success in Atlanta. And it'll be interesting to see. Remember, Atlanta last year interviewed Bill Belichick, and they didn't want to go with Belichick. They didn't want to give him as much control over the roster, right? The Patriots gave Mike Vrabel control over the roster, and it was a quick turnaround there. And I wonder if you're Harbaugh after 18 seasons of success, does that become a sticking point where it's like, yo, I'm willing to come here, but you got to give me control. I got to be able to bring in the quality guys that I want, as opposed to my success being tied to a GM. Because especially in New York, that GM, Brian Shane, I mean, he's done some stupid shit. Let's not pretend like he didn't let Saquon Barkley walk out that building. Let's not pretend like he basically cut Daniel Jones in the middle of the year when they had no alternative. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Harbaugh, I'm like, yo, I might want New York, but do I trust Shane to make the decisions I need to build this team quicker? And in Atlanta, I might want Atlanta, but y'all ain't had no success here in a long time. So guess what? I want control over the roster. I want to do it my way.
But you can have control over the roster pretty much because they don't have a new GM in place first. You know,
right?
But I don't think Arthur Blank is going to go on the route of head coach before GM. I don't think he's done that before. Hasn't he always had a GM in place when the head coach was hired?
Like I said, most times that is the case. But again, you never know how desperate he is to try to win now. And Harbaugh might be a strong enough candidate where he says, I'm willing to do what this guy wants just because of the level of success he's had. And that's why I brought up the Belichick part. They let Belichick walk last year for Raheem Morris. They chose Raheem Morris, and that only lasted 1 year.
Yeah. 2.
Oh, 2 seasons, right.
Yeah, 2 years.
It was previous, yeah. You're right. Shout out to Poole. Oh, go ahead, Will.
When you look at the head coaching court, the guys that are like the guys, who would you say is Harbaugh, Stefanski, and then probably coordinators, right?
I mean,
or is there somebody else I'm missing?
Stefanski should not be anybody's top choice for
he will be.
He will be. The thing
he
is,
will be.
Stefanski was a 2-time coach of the year. And
yeah, he will be.
Whether we like Stefanski or not, he's going to defend what happened. He's going to say, hey, there was a disconnect between me and the front office. That's going to become his excuse. Now, again, whether we want to accept it or not, but that's what's going to become the excuse. He's going to say, hey, I never wanted, there was this disconnect. They wanted to rush Shador. I didn't want Shador. And remember, I'm not comparing him to this guy, but the same thing happened to Brian Flores. Brian Flores lost the job in Miami because he didn't want to play Tua. So there is precedent.
Yeah, we see how that one worked out, right?
Right. But
he didn't want Deshaun either.
Right. He didn't want Deshaun. But there's a precedent where a coach and the front office just aren't on the same page, and you could be a good coach and just lose the job because you didn't want to abide by what the front office wanted. I said this the other day too. I am a little disappointed by the way Shedeur ended the season. I didn't think he looked good in them last 2 games. And I thought that was an opportunity for him to kind of silence the critics a little bit. They won this past week. He only threw for like 111 yards.
But
and I watched that game. He should have had at least 3 picks.
Yeah, he did have some reckless throws, but there was a lot of dudes that ain't gonna be on the team next year in the next couple games. So there was a lot of second and third string guys out there.
Right. I mean, between the second and third string guys and all the young guys that were out there, because again, tight end is a rookie, Judkins is a rookie, Isaiah Bond is a rookie. You got a lot of young guys who just playing for reputation and trying to build a name for themselves. And then you got Shedeur out there in the middle of the season trying to take over. It was a bad situation. And that's why I also said on Monday, I like the fact that he'll get to go into the next year's camp with a clear understanding of like, yo, this is what we're doing. No matter who comes in, even if they ain't got to tell Shedeur you to start it. But if they say, hey, look, we're going into camp and you got to compete for it, cool. But at least you're giving them a shot from day one to compete for it. Not him doing practice squad reps and you know, all that type of stuff. And then now in the middle of the season, oh, here go the playbook, by the way. Get ready, kid. So at least he gets a chance from the beginning. But in terms of Stefanski, I think Stefanski is going to get another job. He's going to get an opportunity. Like you said, Will, you talking about Harbaugh, you're talking about Stefanski. I think the defensive coordinator from Seattle and the defensive coordinator from the Rams are going to be 2 of the highly touted names out there as well.
Don't forget about my guy. And I'm gonna call it right now. I think Harbaugh's going to land with Arthur Blank. I think their personalities will really mesh, and I think Stefanski is going to be in your neighborhood, Trip.
No, he's not.
I think he's going to be in the.
I'm be honest, Trip. Don't let your feelings for how he handled Shedeur affect. He's a good coach. He's a good coach, bro. Like I said,
he turned Baker Mayfield like he made Baker Mayfield a quarterback. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of Dart. I see a lot of young Baker in him. But Dart's better than Baker was at this point in his career.
I agree. I think Dart is better at this point.
And then you got Malik Neighbors. You got young guys on defense. You got a head case battering ram, not a crazy dude in
Cam.
It's Scatterable. And you got the bright lights of big city in New York. I can see I think Stefanski is going to end up being the coach of the Giants.
Trust me, if Stefanski couldn't coach, I'll tell you, because you know how I feel about Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury, that's a name that's going to get floated around. And Cliff Kingsbury cannot coach.
And Cliff, Cliff might end up in Baltimore. Trip.
How
would you feel about that?
I don't think that's the spot for him.
How would you feel about that? I said he might end up there. I think he's going to end up in Cleveland. But what would you think if he went to Baltimore, Trip? If Cliff Kingsbury went to Baltimore?
Disgusted by that, and he won't last long in Baltimore. He might not even make it a whole season in Baltimore. The fans is running him out of town. If he come to Baltimore and start doing that nonsense.
Cliff to Baltimore, to me, I wouldn't like it. Like, nah, that's just a terrible fit.
You know who actually would be like, you know what? I think this could be interesting. Coming to Baltimore, Belichick.
I don't know. He got ties to the organization from back in the Cleveland days. Remember, they let him go as they moved to Baltimore. So I don't know if he's over that. He might still feel a certain type of way.
But I wouldn't, whether he would take the job or not is one thing. But I think that would be
I'll give you a name that I like more than Belichick, but he's from that coaching tree. Brian Flores.
I wouldn't mind that either. Actually, that would be actually pretty good.
I like Brian Flores for that situation.
I would love that, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, because you're talking about a veteran-laden team. They don't need to be babysat. You don't need somebody to come in and try to micromanage everything. You need a guy who's experienced, who can get that defense back on track.
Yep.
And then say, look, let's get back to our identity. We know what the Ravens have always been known for. Let's get back to an aggressive defense, and we already got the pieces on offense. We're going to rely on Derrick Henry. We're going to rely on Lamar, and we're going to go from there. I think Brian Flores would be really, really good for them.
Now, they need to figure out the offensive coordinator situation, though.
Shout out to Nesta, Hot Seat Podcast. He said, I like the Tennessee job. You got your quarterback on the rookie deal and a lot of cap space to build your team. I agree with that, Nesta. The only problem is Tennessee is never going to be an attraction for free agents. If you look even in their best days, whether it was Jeff Fisher, whether it was Mike Vrabel, Tennessee, when they were good, they always built good through the draft, and they always picked up quality free agents. They never got the big splashy free agent. So the cap space works, but you're never going to get the big name guys. You're always going to be kind of middle of the pack with the free agents. For Tennessee, this is an important draft for them. Say that again?
You got to draft him in Tennessee.
I was about to say, this is an important draft for Tennessee. Yes, you got your quarterback, but you got to get him an O-line now. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if you see 2 of their first 4 picks this year be dedicated to the O-line and the protection of Cam Ward. We're going to get Will back in a second. Shout out to Pooh. She said the big Lakers versus Spurs matchup tonight. Who y'all like? Not sure if Wemby playing or not. Trip, who you like tonight?
They playing in San Antonio. Oh no,
San Antonio.
If Wemby's playing, I'm gonna take San Antonio, but mostly because the Lakers just played last night.
So Wemby's a game time decision. Vassell is still out with the thigh. But for the Lakers, LeBron had told us yesterday he wasn't going to play. Remember, he said back-to-backs at this point just probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So LeBron is obviously out.
Well, if he doesn't, I'm definitely going to go San Antonio.
Yeah, I like San Antonio tonight. I mean, Vegas likes him. They got him as 8.5-point favorites. That defense that we've talked about so much with San Antonio, whether Wemby plays or not, it's still a really good defensive team. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be Luka with other guys tonight trying to make it happen.
Yeah, so now it's no Braun, no Austin Reeves still.
Right. And no Hachimura.
You
got three your key. I mean, obviously your second and third best player both out, and a key rotational player.
Yeah.
Spurs might have to place a ticket on that though, because we got to find the sleeper on the Lakers that has scored 20 points tonight. Somebody's going to step up and have to score 20 points. Yeah. We're going to place that ticket after this over. Kyrie said, do the Browns need to target a QB for next season? I was waiting for this question. Go ahead, Trip.
Yes. They do. Just because this season was a real show. I do think they need to draft another quarterback and really have a legitimate QB competition. They have, if I'm not mistaken, 2 first-round draft picks this year. They got the 6th overall pick, and they have the other pick?
They got they got somebody else's pick too.
Yeah, they got 6 and they got 28. So depending on who's available when that second pick comes back around, because the best 2 quarterbacks is going to the Jets and to the Raiders. Both of those teams are picking quarterbacks, and then I think there's like a little bit of a drop off. Because I think that it's Mendoza
and Dante Moore is going to be the top 2.
Yeah, but you also have Todd Simpson out of Alabama, who's a first rounder. So
you're probably gonna have Carson back out of Miami in the draft.
Yeah. So if one of those 2 guys is still available at 28, I'd say yes, go ahead and take him. You know what I'm saying? We saw I believe we saw the best of Dylan Gabriel. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how. Huh?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Exactly. Shedeur, the book is still out on Shedeur. He still got a lot to prove. Again, we'll see how things go with now that kind of being established that he's the number 1. Even if they do draft the quarterback, they're gonna have that competition. But he'll get the reps this coming season. So. Yeah, I would say yes. If they with that second pick, which is a late rounder, if one of those 2 guys is available, either Beck or Simpson, I would say yeah. Go ahead and take a quarterback.
Will, what you think? Do the Browns need to target a quarterback for next season?
Nah, not out of what's coming out of out of college. I don't think so. Because I really think they need. I think Shador. I think they got a steal basically. Now you're going to have a real opportunity to have a first round talent, to have a whole off season, to have a real fighting chance basically. And I say you ride it out with Shador right now. Could be because at worst he was what, a third round quarterback. At very worst, to under our estimation. So
Yeah.
I say you going. I say you going to. You already don't worry about getting your quarterback in this draft because you got him in the last one, and now you're going to hopefully whoever's in charge is going to actually be a professional and try to actually develop this first or second round talent into being the quarterback you think he can be. And he has kind of a little cheat code because he got a few games in last season. I mean, this 2025. Yeah. So he's seen live bullets. So you got something to build on with Shador. So do you need to go and reach for a quarterback now? Nah, because you got so many other places you need to get better. Let's try to build up the wide receiver room, which is the worst in football. Let's make Jerry Jeudy not the number one receiver on your team. Let's address those areas. Let's, you know what I mean? It's there's a couple spots on the offensive line that are not completely shored up. Let's address those areas. Let's give Shador players around him to succeed. Let's do that. You know what I mean? And when I say Shador, I mean any quarterback that's going to be in there. Let's give whoever's going to be the quarterback more bullets for their gun, because right now they don't have a lot especially on the offensive side of the ball. Now they did address those needs at tight end with Fannin. Quinshon Judkins looks like he's going to be the real deal, but as we know, guys can fall off, and guys can get hurt. So it's not like they can just sit back, especially being the Browns. You can't sit back and say, all right, we good here and there. But I think at quarterback, you've seen enough. I saw enough from Shador this year with no practice, with no work with the players, with wrong wristbands, go out there and perform. You know what I'm saying? I saw flashes from him. So he's done. I think he did enough to at least go into camp as QB1. So no, you don't need to go get a quarterback.
So I would say this: I would not draft a quarterback. I think you're just playing with fire if you draft a quarterback. Dillon Gabriel, and I know we all don't believe has any future in the league anyway, other than maybe a third-string quarterback, he's still going to be on your roster because you invested a second-round pick in him. So there's still guaranteed money on that deal. So you're not just going to cut Dillon Gabriel. So you got Shador, you got Dillon Gabriel, you got two young quarterbacks going into their second season. The last thing you need is another young quarterback in that quarterback room. What you need is a veteran. You need a mentor for Shador. You need a guy who can help him with reading coverages and understanding what defenses are trying to do week to week against them. I would use that draft capital that you highlighted, Trip, to address the other areas. Like Will said, go get you a prominent number one receiver. If you can get the kid out of Ohio State, why wouldn't you get him with the 6th pick?
They love him. They love him.
Right. Go get you that. Go get you an offensive lineman. Go get you a little protection for Shador and establish an identity. You have the running game. You got a good young tight end. Get me the receiver, get me a lineman, and let's start moving forward. But I think I would not even look at any quarterbacks in this draft because I just think you're playing with fire to bring another young quarterback into that quarterback room. You already got two young guys who are trying to compete for the spot. We all agree that Shador is better than Dillon Gabriel, so it should at least be his job going into next year. But bringing a veteran that can help mentor him along the way. Just somebody who's like, all right, I can lean on this guy if I got a little trouble understanding what this team is trying to do this week. Somebody who's got some little bit of mileage under their belt and can explain to me, hey, this is what this defensive coordinator likes to do in these situations. So I would go after a veteran. And I think that is going to happen based on whatever head coach they bring in. Because we've seen it in the past as well, where head coaches like to bring in a veteran quarterback that they once had on their roster who can kind of explain the offensive playbook to the younger guys. So that's the direction I would go there. Kyrie also wants to know, should Fernando Mendoza be the number one pick in the NFL draft? It's a great question because they get Oregon in the next round. Dante Moore is projected to be the second quarterback taken, and by some mock drafts, he's expected to be number 2 behind Fernando Mendoza. The winner of this matchup probably gonna go number 1. But if I had to talk about it today, which we do, I would say Mendoza. He's the Heisman winner. He's coming off the impressive game against Alabama. By all accounts, he should be the number 1 pick right now. Trip?
Yeah. I mean, if you're asking me today in this moment, yes. But if I watch that game and depending on how it goes, if it don't go in his favor, then I might be swayed to go the other way on that one. But as of right now, yeah, it's definitely Mendoza. Yeah.
Will?
Now, I agree with Trip. It's Mendoza, but I that's with saying that I didn't watch any of the other kids, so I don't really have anything to compare. But I did watch. I saw a lot of Mendoza. I'm in Big Ten country, and when he's impressive. Like, I mean, I know he's the hot guy because he won the Heisman. He deserved it. That he throws with timing.
Yeah,
He throws guys open, and he does not make mistakes. Now he's not going to be like Justin Herbert as far as statuesque, like 6'5", how you would create a quarterback. He's not going to be Lamar Jackson, being that athletic guy. But I see a more athletic Drew Brees when I watch him, and I think anybody will take that.
Yeah, I like Mendoza. I mean, only time will tell. Obviously, you never know with any prospect. But you're right. In terms of stature, he fits the mold. This is what they want. He's not a super athlete, but he does throw with timing. He has a great understanding of what defenses are trying to do while he's out there. I think he's the number 1 guy. Like I said, unless Dante Moore completely goes crazy in a playoff matchup, that's the only way I think that would change anything. Mendoza right now, I think, has that spot. We talked about the Bears earlier, so let's get back to them right here. Squeeze wants to know, which quarterback do you trust more, Caleb Williams or Jordan Love? I think it's fairly easy. I say Jordan Love. What you think, Will?
I'm going with Caleb. It's just something about, maybe I'm being biased because he's a DC kid, but something about that, like, you know what I mean, where you got just enough confidence where you don't know better, but since you don't know better, it don't hurt you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I just think. I think the Bears might be on to something. And like I said, I've been saying all season, I said it from week 1, the Bears are last year's Commanders. And I'm going to keep saying that. I can see the Bears going all the way to the NFC Championship. And the Packers are banged up. They on the road. I know it's a division foe, rival, one of the biggest rivalries in the history of the game. But Ben Johnson seemed like he got something cooking, man. So I'm liking the Bears. I'm thinking like 27-15 Bears. I'm trusting Caleb. I'm trusting Caleb more. Yeah.
I do trust Jordan Love more, but I just think the situation is perfect for the Bears right now. This Packers team, where are they getting a pass rush from without Micah? Right? The secondary is a little banged up. Josh Jacobs has been banged up for like the last month. I believe they're down at least 1 receiver this week as well, and Christian Watson been dealing with the shoulder injury for a few weeks as well. So I just like the Bears to win. But if you're asking me which quarterback do I trust, if late in the game, I probably would go Jordan Love because he's done it more often than Caleb. But overall, as a team, I think the Bears are in a better position.
When we look at late game heroics, I think Caleb in his young career is tipping that scale, isn't he?
In terms of regular season this year, go back and look at Jordan Love, some of his playoffs. He's had some very impressive games in San Francisco, in Dallas. He's shown up. He's played well. The only thing missing, obviously, he's never played in a Super Bowl, but he's got playoff victories. He's gone on the road and had some good playoff victories. This is Caleb's first time. We don't know. It may take Caleb a quarter to really settle down. He might be too hyped up to start the game.
True.
What you think, Trip?
Yeah. No, I think it's clear. Jordan Love. we've seen him do it before in the playoffs. He's definitely been more consistent in the regular season. Well, when he's on the field, because he has been hurt a lot as well. But barring any injuries, I would have to take Jordan Love.
Let's get through some of these right here, and then we're gonna get to the pick for this weekend. Squeeze wants to know, it's an NBA related question. Give me yours, NBA first team, the first part of the season so far. Will, what you got?
Shit. First team, I guess you got to go to Shea. It's no positions now, right? Usually it's just guys. Yeah. See, I can't even think that way. Like I was already
they just want
immediately thinking guard, forward, center. It was how I was immediately thinking.
Instead of center, you would just pick 3 front court players. So like you could go.
Is it even that?
Yeah, 3 front court players.
Oh, okay.
So you could go Joker.
Yeah.
I would say Joker, Shea, Luka. Those 3 got to make
it. Luka's in there. Joker, Shea, and Luka was my 3 right off top.
Is Jaylen Brown right now the best small forward right now?
Jaylen?
Is he playing small forward? He was the shooting guard.
I thought he was a 2. Yeah.
We never
see that's the thing out.
We never gonna figure this out.
Well, if he is a guard and we only got 2 spots for guards, and it's going to Shea and Luka.
Yeah, I mean the guard spot was already gonna be fucked anyway because we were gonna have to end up leaving Cade off it with Luka and Shea. Yeah. Cade make it either.
Because I was just about to say, Cade, if we doing no positions, I'm still putting them on there.
Squeeze, you're gonna have to give us a week, Squeeze. You're gonna have to give us a week to
we can't just bring that up on us.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to see how they identify some of the positions and stuff. Yeah. All right.
But we all agree, Luka, no matter what the format, Luka, Shea, and Joker are on there.
Oh yeah, they're on. Yeah, and then it's just a matter of who we go.
Oh, and Wemby.
But in another 2 weeks, Joker gonna be off that list.
Because he's not gonna have enough games played.
Y'all ain't got Wemby on there?
I don't think he's played enough games. That's the only reason why I didn't say Wemby. But if he stays healthy for the rest of the season, then he'll be there, I believe.
Yeah. Give us a week, Squeeze. We'll come back to that question. Will, I was gonna ask you this regardless, even if it didn't come up in the comment section, but Kyrie brought it up. Mr. Gordon, from reports, Trae Young prefers to be traded to your Washington Wizards. What do you think, Will? What y'all got to give up? Trae's talented, but a lot of flaws. I was going to already ask you this. What's your thoughts? Because it's coming out today. He has the Wizards number 1 on his team.
Yeah. Now he does. Now he does.
What you say, Trip?
No, I'm saying, do you even want Trae Young?
It depends on what they're giving up. So from what I'm hearing is, first of all, we were not his first. We were not his first choice. He wanted to go to Minnesota. They weren't interested. He wanted to go to Brooklyn. They weren't interested. That's what I heard. And then he was like, all right, well, what about Washington? So then they went with Washington. Now, would I take him? What I heard today was all the Atlanta really wants from back is Corey Kispert and like expiring stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You want Corey Kispert? Take him. If I can get Trae Young. Now, is Trae Young like, a world beater? No, but we the Washington Wizards. And a player that can put butts in seats like Trae Young, we don't get that in DC. Guys don't come here. Guys don't come to DC. If we look at the last 10 years, John Wall drafted here. Bradley Beal, when he was overrated and hyped, was drafted here. Guys don't come to DC. So whatever opportunity are we going to get a player like of the ilk of Trae Young?
Well, I don't know if he froze there.
I think he
froze. I was gonna say, the reports I heard out here was that the Wizards only became his number 1 option. Hold on, well, I'm gonna take you off the live since you frozen right now, and I want you
because don't nobody else want
back yet.
Because nobody want him.
Did he wanted to go to other places that weren't really interested in getting him. Another thing I heard, and I think there's a lot of truth to this, is that Atlanta only really gave him the consideration because Atlanta was really trying to package him and Porzingis with a bunch of picks to try to go get Giannis. That was their first choice.
Okay.
They were going to package him with Porzingis's expiring contract, and because they have multiple picks this year, and one of them, I believe, is the Pelicans pick, that they were going to try to make an all-in push on Giannis. And as a consideration, they kind of told him, like, hey, look, if we can't make the Giannis trade, then we'll work with you to go anywhere else. But their first choice was obviously to try to package him to go to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Brooklyn wants nothing to do with him, because we've talked about Brooklyn needing a face to the franchise right now. And Brooklyn is basically saying, nah, we good.
Because you gotta have a certain swag to come to New York, and you know what I'm saying, especially Brooklyn. I just like Trae Young don't represent Brooklyn for me. I just can't see him as that's the face of the Brooklyn franchise.
I just think Brooklyn looks at it from the standpoint of like, yo, it's a lot of empty stats. Yeah, you can score, you have assist numbers, but you're not winning nothing with Trae Young. And with all them young guys that they got over there, they drafted the last couple of years, like, what is Trae Young really changing for them? If I'm the Nets, I'm thinking, what is he changing for us? Because you play with a bunch of young guys in Atlanta and y'all don't win.
Yeah.
So
and
you
they
gonna
just
come here
to a point guard, the kid Denham, Igor.
Yeah.
Denham. So
that's crazy because that was actually one of Combo's favorite players in last year's draft. Even before the Nets took him, he liked him a lot.
So you got, I don't think it will work.
I don't either. I don't think any of it makes sense for Brooklyn. I don't think it makes sense really for the Wizards, other than what Will said. Yes, to sell tickets.
If you're talking about Kispert and a couple of contracts, then hell yeah, you take them. Because the Wizards are bottom of the barrel right now. So anything.
I like Trae Johnson though. I like the young guard Trae Johnson that they got. And if you get Trae Young, in name and stature, he's a bigger name. He's a more recognizable player, and he's more accomplished. But in terms of what it does for your team, it does nothing for your team. You're the Atlanta Hawks. You're in the same position the Hawks have been in, where you got all these young guys. Trae Young's supposed to be your leader, but he ain't leading you nowhere. You'd be lucky to win 42 games every year.
Yeah.
I think the real thing for Trae is he's going to have to change his style of play, and he's going to have to try to get with a veteran-laden team. I'm a little surprised Miami isn't trying to make a push for him, because I think if Miami could keep Hero and Bam and make a trade, because it sounds like Atlanta just wants to get off the contract. Yeah. If they could do that, I think Miami makes sense because they got the other pieces. And so you could let Trae be the point guard and do all the things he does, and you got a defensive anchor in Bam, and you got a shooter in Tyler Hero. Then it makes sense. But Brooklyn, Washington, Minnesota, of course, going to say no, because you're not coming over here and taking a ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands.
Yeah, and do what?
Right. What you think? You're gonna be the ball dominant guard next to Anthony Edwards? Hell no.
No.
So that one, yeah. But we're gonna try to get Will back on the live. Shout out to Ron. Y'all boy Rich Paul. He's not my boy, man. Rich Paul, I fuck with Rich Paul, but he's not my boy like that. We talked about him on Monday, but more clips came out. He had a brought up explaining Jordan's success with Nike. I just wonder why he's on the show and Jordan is what he talks about, because Jordan gets the clicks.
Yeah,
you know that, Ron.
Now wait, was that wasn't on, because that wasn't on his podcast. That was on somebody else's.
Yeah, somebody else's.
Yeah, so because obviously that's just the clickbait.
Yeah, that's not a topic he brought up. That's the person hosting the show brought that up.
And they know because Rich Paul is LeBron's guy.
Oh, this
always going to get you extra clicks.
We said, yeah, Ron. He was on the Joe and Jada pod talking about Jordan. To me, every week on his pod with Max, he talking MJ. He can still be a fan, but it's a little weird to me. But Trick will defend Rich. Damn, Trip. They see now your affiliation of LeBron has carried over into your affiliation with Rich Paul.
Oh, when do I defend Rich Paul?
Apparently, that's your man's now.
The only time I defended Rich Paul was when they was having all them issues about him being the agent and all of that. That was the only time I really defended Rich Paul. But other than that, I could care less about Rich Paul.
They saying that's your man's now. Y'all lying. Y'all in step. Y'all in tune. Yeah, but he was on Joe and Jada's podcast when they asked him about that. And he even said, though, if y'all watch the clip, he even said, like, why is this always a question? And that's when Fat Joe was like, yo, you know, it's religious at this point. He gets talked about in barbershops. He gets talked about in every street corner. But Rich did kind of say, like, why are we having a Mike and Braun convo again? Which is overdone at this point, but it is
because
what it is.
because LeBron is Rich Paul's guy, and you're talking about MJ versus LeBron is going to get to that, and that's going to get the clicks.
The crazy part is, shout out to the supporters. Y'all know I always thank you guys for riding with us every week. But y'all do know every week y'all bring up Braun's name on the podcast. Y'all do know that, right? Every week y'all bring up Braun's name. Whether we're recording Monday nights or Wednesday nights, y'all bring up Braun's name.
Yeah. And
Y'all
we purposely will not have anything LeBron, unless LeBron actually does something. We try to not talk about LeBron just because of y'all, and y'all still bring LeBron up as
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Will, once you get situated, give me a thumbs up. This one from Kyrie as well. We're gonna bring Will on the stage as we talk about this. Would Jason Tatum coming back at the end of the season be bad for Boston in terms of messing up flow? And could Tatum blend in without trying to be the man? Trip, I'm gonna let you go first because they say I'm a Jason Tatum hater. I don't know why they feel that way, but they feel that I don't like Jason Tatum. But go ahead, Will. Trip. Go ahead, Trip.
I mean, right now Boston is in second place, if I'm not mistaken. So if he could actually, let's just say the season was ending right now, or let's say there was 2 weeks left to the season, and Jason Tatum could come back, and the Celtics were pretty much a lock to get the second seed. Then yeah, you come back and play. If you can actually play, like if it's not a risk to, you know what I'm saying, to make it worse, then yeah, come back and play and try to make another run at it, because East is still pretty banged up. And Jaylen Brown is having an MVP like season, and they could always use the help of Jason Tatum in the playoffs. So yes, if they're in a top seed going into the playoffs and he's healthy and ready to go, by all means, yes, go play.
Will, you think Tatum should come back this year, and how would it affect the chemistry?
I do. And I don't even like Jason Tatum, but I think if I mean I don't. But if he can, like you said, like if he can come back with like 2 weeks left of the season and like that could be like his get right weeks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think Boston with him can win the East. I really think they could. Sorry, Knicks fans, but I think they could if he could get, if he's really ready to come back and can get his basketball legs under him going into the playoffs, or you know, going into those rounds where they really, really need him. I think Boston can be a problem.
Yeah, the key is how much time he gets to play before the playoffs, because it's not just the NBA conditioning, it's the flow of the offense. Is he playing the number 2 role to Brown, or is Brown taking a step back and letting Tatum lead?
No, he would have to play number 2 role because of the chemistry that had been built throughout the season.
Then
you can't just come in and be like, yo, fresh off the injury, now you back to number 1.
I don't think he should come back this year.
But play Robin?
Nah, I don't. Not that he can't play Robin. I think that's a tough position to put somebody in. They gonna come back. Not only do they got to get acclimated with everybody else in their flow, I got to now be selective about taking my shots. And remember, the expectation from everybody else is going to be like, oh, he's Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Because the moment.
But let's not act like when they won it, we didn't all think Jaylen Brown should have won the MVP.
No, I'm not acting like that.
So he was more Batman.
No.
So they've kind of had that before.
No, he was not. Brown winning that MVP was impressive because the shots were still going through Tatum. Tatum was still number 1 in terms of shots, in terms of offensive rating, in terms of usage. What Brown did so like surprising and successful was that he was so efficient in his opportunities. We talk in a situation now where the offense runs through. Brown is averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah.
The
But
shots flow through Brown, and now you're going to say Tatum, go stand in the corner for these next 3 possessions.
in
How
those
is that going
finals,
to
we
affect
didn't
him?
think Brown was the better player though. In those
I
finals, I'm not
do.
saying overall as
I
basketball
do.
players, but in that moment, Brown was the better basketball player,
I do.
and
Yeah.
But the offense wasn't.
that's all they need to replicate.
But it's hard to replicate that because Brown was the best player without getting the shots. They weren't running primary offense through Brown. They were running primary offense through Tatum.
But at the time, you could say they didn't have that growth with Brown. That was kind of his coming of age. So
I
now
agree.
Brown is at that level where he can be the A1 instead of like it was
But
more of a
now
coming of age then.
I agree with all that. But right now, the growth that we're seeing from Brown is with no Tatum on the floor. You don't know how, none of us know how the other players are going to respond when it's late in the shot clock. Are they looking for Tatum or are they looking for Brown? Because prior to this year, it was always Tatum.
Yeah.
And I hate to compare it, but it's too many comparisons. Now I'm a caveat. It's not the same. I'm not comparing them as the same. But like we talk about coming back late, when Michael came back off his break, off the baseball, he came back in the playoffs, so he couldn't really. Right before,
Yeah, he came
right.
back like 2 weeks before.
Yeah, exactly. Same situation, right? And Scotty had taken the reins, right? And kind of like the way Jaylen Brown has. And at the same time, they are not Scotty and Mike, but you see what I mean as far as what they are to to the franchise and their roles is very similar, especially when we're talking about Tatum coming back like 2 weeks before the season, just like Mike did. It's a lot of
I don't think it's
similarities.
the same though.
Yeah, because the only thing with that is Mike is clearly better than Scotty. Like there was no debate. Jaylen Brown is probably better than Tatum, but Tatum is the number one guy on the team.
Right.
Scotty wasn't gonna ever be the number one guy as long as Mike was there.
But I'm not saying that like as to where now they're gonna win because Mike and Scotty didn't win when he first came back. But at the time, it was way better East comp. It was way better teams in the East going against the Bulls back then than it is going against Boston now. Is what I'm trying to say. That was
I think yes. So there's different parts of this conversation. Could Boston with Tatum come out of the East? Absolutely. Right? They have done it 2 times prior. So we know if Tatum is healthy and they're on the same page, absolutely they can come out of the East. They were the favorites to come out of the East last year before that matchup with the Knicks, right? Now, my thing is, and the reason I say Tatum shouldn't come back, I don't think it's an easy transition. If we're going to say, hey, Tatum, come back with 2 to 3 weeks left and you're getting yourself in game shape, but we're also asking you to completely alter your mindset and the way that we've always played with you and to do it right now in the middle of what's going to be a playoff run, I think that's a lot to ask of anybody. You're again, was Brown the best player when he won East MVP and Finals MVP? Yes, he played the best. But go back and look at the shots. They were running offense through Jason Tatum. Brown was playing off of Tatum. To say we're going to switch the roles now, and now you have to play off of Brown, when not only is it Tatum's mindset that's got to change, it's the players that got to change. Because a lot of those guys look for Jason Tatum to bail them out when it's late in shot clock. A lot of those guys look for Jason Tatum when the offense gets stagnant. And so now you don't know how that's going to affect the dynamic with Brown because it's going to be like, hold on, I've been the man all year, and now Tatum automatically comes back and he's guaranteed 25 shots. He gets his 25 shots no matter what now. Now, when the game is close and they look over at Joe Mazzulla and Joe Mazzulla's running plays for Jason Tatum after Brown had been doing it all year, I think that's one of the things you got to ease into. And that's not to say Brown can't be the best player. I just think psychologically you got to ease into that. You can't just say, yo, here goes 3 weeks, figure it out before the playoffs, because then I think it's going to crash and burn at that point. I think you got to do it the right way with them.
But the thing they have going for them is they've been there before. They've done it before. It's not like it's their first rodeo, and by both of them being in the lineup, that takes pressure off each other because now who's going to see the double, like it's only positive for me, it's only a positive if he was to come back. I don't see where it makes them worse.
I don't, to me, I think you have to, tread lightly where it goes because again, Tatum coming back all these years, it has been Tatum's show. It has been Tatum's show. Like we can say all we want about how we feel about Jaylen Brown. We can say if we felt Brown has always been better or if they've been equal. That's again, it's all fair to say because Jaylen Brown has been great as well. But what we're not going to do is pretend like the offense wasn't running through Tatum. We're not going to pretend like Tatum wasn't their primary focal point whenever it was late in shot clock or late in game situations. And so to change that dynamic, I think could do something to a locker room because you're gonna have a split locker room. There's guys in that locker room that probably want Tatum to come back because of what he did for them, how he created space for them, how he played for them. There's going to be other guys who are going to love what Jaylen Brown does for them. And so to just kind of throw them out there and be like, yo, figure it out. Nah, to me, I don't think that'll work. I think if Tatum is going to come back and you're saying Brown is our guy, I'm cool with that. But I think you're going to need at least a full month of them playing together where there's like, yo, there's no issues. We have a clear-cut pecking order. Because like you said, yeah, Mike came back after a year and a half in baseball. But there was never any dispute about who was number one on that team. When Scottie Pippen is pointing at the Jordans, like, come back, Scotty's even saying, yeah, you the man, bro. It's you. I'm holding it down until you come back. Right now, I don't think Jaylen Brown feels like I'm holding it down until you come back. Jaylen Brown is like, no, this is my shit. Like, this is my shit, and you're going to have to adjust to what's going on right now because I'm averaging 30 a game. We number 2 in the East. We competing with everybody. And like you said, Will, last time I checked, I was the Finals MVP and the Eastern Conference MVP. So are you gonna be okay being a number 2?
And I don't even think was Tatum in the MVP conversation? Like
for those finals?
No, I'm talking about regular season.
Oh, regular season. I think 1 year he had a top 4 finish. 1 year, I think he's got top 4.
Like Jaylen Brown is playing himself into the conversation for
Jaylen Brown right now is in the conversation.
So he might not want to just be like
Jaylen Brown is in the top 5 conversation right now. MVP.
Yeah, he might not want to just be like, all right, come on, Tatum.
Shout out to Kyrie on this one. He said Carmelo Anthony says the burden is too heavy for Brunson on a night-to-night basis. He's 1,000% correct. I've said this before. This is why I'm not pushing for the Knicks to make the trade for Giannis. I completely understand why they would make the trade because too often is Jalen Brunson trying to create late in games. I thought yesterday was disgusting. You got Karl Anthony Towns with 6 points in a marquee matchup against the Pistons. You got OG Anunoby with 8 points. Like who's your secondary scorer? Who's the guy that he's supposed to be going to war with right now? So Melo's 1,000% correct. It's too much on a night-to-night basis if you're expecting Brunson to bail you out every night.
Yeah.
And when Brunson has to force it, he looks bad. Like in late game situations when it's him and nobody else giving him help, it's easy to get him off his game. I feel like I think
he's easy to defend him. He's a 6 foot guard.
That's what I was going to say because he has physical limitations.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he can't be the give me the ball and get out the way dude in the fourth quarter. That's not how he's built. I see a lot of times when that's what they need from him, and that ain't him.
Yeah.
He's a really good point guard, but that ain't
the problem.
He's not a give me the ball point guard.
When teams can help off their guys without any repercussions, then it makes it tough. Because we're not talking about like a super athletic guard that when he gets in the lane, he's finishing old people. What Brunson can break down his defender, but he needs to help defenders to stay out. Mm-hmm. Once, like I said, if Karl Anthony Towns ain't shooting the ball well, if OG ain't shooting the ball well, and they could collapse the lane, now it's so difficult. You're asking a 6 foot guard to finish over 2 and 3 defenders. You need those guys to at least be a threat to keep defenders at home. Right. You need the defenders to stay at home so that way he can operate. But if the defense can continue to collapse on him, it's going to look ugly every night. Pooh said, y'all must think Tatum too much of a pretty boy. No, I said before, I think Tatum hasn't reached his full potential, and it's frustrating at times. He's more focused on being Kobe than he is the best version of Jason Tatum. Kyrie said, Eric and Tripp, let's be honest, LeBron James, even though a lot don't like him, but he's always going to be a topic. But y'all have a great rest of the night. Great show tonight. Appreciate you, Kyrie. Listen, Kyrie, we know LeBron is great, but y'all got to stop fronting. Y'all be bringing up LeBron's name in the comment section, and then when we talk about him, y'all be like, "Hey, go Trip talking about LeBron again." They start Trip. The moment you start talking about LeBron, they start texting all their family members. He doing it again. Y'all brought him up, bro. I promise you, LeBron wasn't on the itinerary tonight.
It's bad.
I promise y'all, man. All right, we're going to get to these NFL picks. Before we do, just a reminder, guys, make sure you are subscribed to the Sanchez Show. We're live every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. And then Real Fans Real Talk Monday at 7 p.m. We got picks. We're going to talk off air, guys, because I really would like us to do a live stream during one of these NFL games. Even if we don't get to do the whole game, if we could do a half. But I want us to do it. Now, with that being said, Will, I'm going to give you your pick. What game you want to start with? There's 6 games this week. I have a feeling I know what game you want to start with. But since you're the only one with a team that is still playing this weekend, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Where would you like to start? Where would you like to start this weekend?
Man, I guess we got to go to the house that Tom built
Sunday
up
night.
in Foxborough, Sunday Night Football, which I will advocate. Which I'd advocate for the live stream.
If you want to do the live stream Sunday night, we could definitely do a Sunday night.
Because that's was wide open right there. But they got Justin Herbert. It's time, bro. You ain't got a playoff win yet. It's time. Now I know we banged up. I know you ain't got you got the worst line in football. I know all of that. I know better than everybody. I know. But it's no more excuses. We can't use excuses now. We here. We going to New England. And Drake May, you can't lose. You can't give Drake May a playoff win now, bro. I need you to get yours because I'm gonna hear too much shit talking. If you can't give me a playoff win this season, I'm gonna hear too much. Look, that's why Trip laughed because he gonna be the first one in line telling me Justin Herbert ain't elite. If we can't go, can't get a win,
I'm gonna be right there waiting for you, boy.
We got to go in there. We got to play smart football. Justin, he's going to get hit. He's been hit more than any other quarterback in the league. He's going to get hit, but he's got to take smart hits. Guys have to make plays for us. He's going to find you. They got to make plays. On the Patriots side, Drake May he's an MVP candidate. He's been orchestrating that offense to perfection all season. But we got too many guys on our football team with too much pride and too many scars in this game to where this is our time. I feel like the Patriots, y'all are up and coming, but it's our time. You just in our way right now is all I feel. I like my boys. I like my boys in I'm feeling like 23-16 kind of win. I think we're going to go in there and handle business, man.
If you guys don't get it done, because you highlighted it already, Justin Herbert would be 0-3 in the playoffs.
Yes, he will.
He lost to Trevor Lawrence, who at the time was making his first playoff start. He lost to C.J. Stroud, who at the time was only making, I believe, his third playoff start. So in both those instances, he lost to young quarterbacks who didn't have a lot of experience. Drake May falls in line there again. The other thing to be worried about is this the third time on the road because the first loss was in Jacksonville, the collapse, the comeback. Obviously in Houston last year. Now you're in New England. At some point, like I said, you got to get it done. Trip, on this game specifically, New England, 3.5-point favorites. They rolling right now. What do you think? How do you see this play out?
I don't even know why we even having this discussion. Clearly, New England is winning this game. Like, stop, okay? If I picked them to go to the Super Bowl on Monday,
you did.
Oh wow, did you?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
This is gonna be a walk in the park right here. Come on.
A walk in the. All right, let me write that down.
See, I'm not playing the games. I can't give them bullet board material, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you put the quotations around that.
But you was
Will.
cool with
Yeah,
the
I
Browns.
am.
When the Browns said they was going to the Super Bowl, you was cool with that. But now when I
This
say
is about,
it, that's a problem.
this is about to be like a Jill Scott long walk and follow.
All right,
You know what I'm
listen.
saying?
I did tell Will when he and I were texting about this a couple days ago. I told him, I said the key to me, I think, is going to be the first quarter and a half of this game. New England's offense is very explosive, and the Chargers. I don't think there's one of them situations that you can fall behind early and think you're going to come back. The Patriots team is good. They score a lot of points. Even if you look at their losses, they score points, bro. Just some raw numbers. New England, third in total offense, second in points per game, fourth in passing, sixth in rushing. On the flip side, you got the Chargers, who are fifth in yards allowed, fifth versus the pass, eighth versus the rush. The big part of this, all that though, is like I said, can the Chargers offense keep up? Because I think there's still going to be moments that the Patriots are going to be able to move the ball on this defense. Patriots are fourth in points allowed. Chargers bottom half of the league in terms of points allowed, points scored. They're going to have to find a way to either slow this game down or get a couple turnovers early and kind of knock the Patriots out of rhythm. Because I do feel like, Will, that's really your path to success. If y'all fall behind 10-0 or 13-0, I think this game's going to get ugly. Because I just don't see you guys.
We not a come from behind type team.
Yeah, I don't think they have enough offensive firepower. And it's not Herbo's fault. You know, you're missing both tackles. The running game has been decimated by injury. He's obviously injured himself. Y'all need y'all defense to make a couple plays early in this game. Settle that crowd down, kind of get the crowd out of it, see if you can force Drake May into a mistake or two. If not, if you fall behind, then Jay Herbo got to start playing the way Josh Allen did that game when they were down 21-0 and turned into like almost MVP. And I just don't see that for Jay Herbo. So I don't see this as a walk in the park, but I do think the Patriots win this game. The line right now is 3.5. I like the Patriots to win this game. I'm going to say the Patriots win this game. I'm going to say 26-20. Patriots win this game.
Might be 26-14, but you know, whatever.
I'm gonna say 26-20 because I can't front. There's been also times that Will and I have texted during the games where I've said I'm
just trolling Will right now, bro.
I know he is. I'm like, you don't think Digger the kicker gonna give me a field goal or two?
Oh, he's gonna hit a couple more field goals in this game.
Yeah.
And I would honestly, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they hang around early and turn it into more of a methodical, low-scoring game. But it's tough to see the Chargers get more than 21, 24 points. And I think they got to at least get to 24 to win this game.
I almost think we might need a score on defense.
Yeah. Now,
special things.
If as the Charger fan, is Derwin James more focused on the tight ends or the running backs? Because you know they love to bring the running backs out the backfield and throw to them.
Yeah, he's going to be locked up on the tight ends. That's like usually. That's our scheme. Usually, is to take out DJ roams the middle.
Right.
He's either on if you see him up on the line of scrimmage, he's blitzing. That's the one thing I hate. We're so predictable. But he's usually his job is to take out the tight end. So I'm not worried about who they got. Hunter Henry.
Will
is that their tight end right there?
Yeah.
Hooper.
Yeah, they love going two tight end set.
Yeah, I'm not tripping off them. And
love going two tight end
I'm telling you, I think we match up well with them. I'm really, if we lose, we lose. But I'm really not bothered by this game. I feel good about it.
All
Will,
right.
take your camera up, bro.
Trip, where we going next? Trip, what game we going to next?
Let's do Eagles 49ers.
Philly, 4.5-point favorites. 49ers had an opportunity to get the number 1 seed going into the last week. They lose. Now they got to get this Philly team, the defending champs. What you thinking, Trip? How you seeing this one play out?
I'm being honest with you, this is a 50-50 game for me. I think either one of these teams can win this game. It's just going to depend on whose offense starts off hot, because both of these teams has had the ups and downs this season. But both of these teams are fully capable of getting back to a championship game or getting to a Super Bowl. So I think it's a 50-50 game. Obviously, because of my allegiances, I can't ever pick the Eagles to win the game, so I have to pick the 49ers. But again, this is a 50-50 game.
Will, what you think?
Yeah, I agree with Trip, and I took the Eagles. I think the 49ers just don't. I think they're missing a piece or two on defense, and I'm gonna roll with the home team. That Philly crowd is gonna be crazy. And in basically a pick'em game, I'm going with the Eagles at home.
I love the 49ers, man, but they're not going to win this week. What I saw in that game against Seattle and what I saw even in that game against the Bears, I just don't like it from the 49ers. First and foremost, Seattle bullied them on their home field. And I think the Eagles can do the same thing defensively. In terms of the pressure they can get. Now, Trent's supposed to be back this week. We're going to see. But in terms of the pressure they can get on the quarterback, the havoc that they can cause, because the 49ers really don't have, outside of Kittle, they don't have an elite receiver who can get open. I think this is going to be a tough day for Brock Purdy. There's a stat I saw. Will, you might have been familiar with this. I didn't know this until I saw this number. Kyle Shanahan, as a head coach, if he's trailing by a touchdown or more going into the fourth quarter, he's 1-38.
God dang, 1-38.
Pretty much is a guaranteed victory if you're up at least a touchdown going into the fourth quarter on the 49ers.
I'm gonna have to keep that in mind doing the live bets.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think Philly's defense feasts this week on that O-line. The 49ers defense itself isn't good, so I don't think Philly's gonna run up the score on them, but I think Saquon has a big day today, or a big day this weekend. I think they get back to the running game. You look at what the 49ers gave up rushing to Seattle, with both backs almost had 100 yards. You look back at what they gave up to Chicago the week before. I think Philly's running game gets going. I think their defense dominates. Philly wins this game. It's another one. That line's at 4.5. I like Philly to cover it. That one, I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a 24-17 type game, 24-14 type game. Because I think the 49ers are going to struggle to move the ball just because of the Philly pass rush. Philly's completely healthy on defense right now. That's going to be a tough matchup for the 49ers, man. My favorite game of the weekend. We're going to go here. Will, let me know if I think you froze again, Will. Yeah, Will froze again. That connection bad, man. This is my favorite game of the weekend. Trip.
I'm gonna buy Will a hotspot for.
We gotta get him a hotspot, man. This is my favorite game of the weekend. Bills at Jacksonville. Bills.
That's gonna be a fun game.
It's gonna be a super fun game. Jacksonville defense is fast. I've been talking about it all year. They cause a lot of turnovers. This is a Buffalo team, Trip. You and I have been saying it. They don't have an elite receiver that really gets open. They beat you with their running game. Just some raw numbers, Trip. The Bills, 4th in total yards. They're the number 1 rushing offense per game. On the flip side, Jacksonville is 11th in yards allowed, but they're number 1 against the run. So it's strength on strength. That Jags rush defense against the Bills rush offense. On the flip side, you got Buffalo, who's number 1 in total yards allowed, but they're 29th against the run against a Jacksonville team that was 11th in total yards this year. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, this might be an opportunity for them. This is a big moment for Josh Allen. We've said it for weeks, Trip. No Mahomes, no Lamar, no Burrow. You are the best quarterback left in the AFC. I know it's a tough matchup, but if you are MVP, you gotta go beat
best quarterback left in the playoffs. Period.
Probably. That's fair. I would. Yeah, he's better than Stafford. He's better than Stafford.
Come on.
I think
even though Stafford has a chance to get MVP this year, I'm still taking Josh Allen over.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that. So yeah, we're talking about the best quarterback left in the dance, right?
Yeah.
Can he do it though? Again, it's strength on strength. If they can't run the ball on this Jacksonville team, what else can they do, Trip? Because are you trusting any of the receivers?
No, I don't trust none of the receivers. That's the thing, right? Because like you mentioned, this is a big game for Josh Allen in his legacy, right? This is a big game for Trevor Lawrence in his legacy. And it may be even a bigger game because he hasn't even had any success. I mean, realistically, he ain't really had no type of success. But to go in and steal this game against Buffalo, if you could go in and pull that off, this is one of those legacy building games for Trevor Lawrence. And you're right, they their strengths and their weaknesses kind of match up pretty well. So listen, Buffalo better be on their A game. Don't be looking forward.
Yeah.
You better be locked in with Jacksonville.
I always say styles make fights. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling if I'm wrong on this, then I'm wrong on it. I said on Monday, I think Buffalo and the Rams were going to be the Super Bowl teams. But if Jacksonville wins, I wouldn't be surprised, Trip. I just think that, again, it styles make fights. And if you're telling me you can stop the run as good as Jacksonville does, number one in the league, stopping the run. If you could stop the run, even if you ain't got to shut it down completely, but if you just limit it, you limit the big runs by James Cook, you limit the opportunities for Josh Allen to run around. Mm-hmm. If you're the Jags, you say, yo, we could play one-on-one with all these receivers because none of these receivers scare us. We could play one-on-one with those guys, and we could take away some of those things. And now the big question is, your defense could play great, and Trevor Lawrence might still throw 3 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? You can still find yourself in that situation, like you said, where Trevor Lawrence doesn't arrive. The defense shows up for the party, but Trevor Lawrence doesn't. That's why, for me, I am taking Buffalo. The line is 1.5. Vegas feels it's a pick'em game pretty much as well. I'm going to lean Buffalo just because they got the better quarterback. Who you like in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that Josh Allen will not disappoint. I'm gonna go Buffalo. I gotta go Buffalo, man. Okay. I'm sorry. I gotta put respect on Josh Allen's name. I'm sorry. I just feel like he's good enough to win this game for Buffalo. And then when you add in James Cook, I think because James Cook is so good in the pass game as well, I think that's where they're gonna have the edge. I think James Cook will still be the James Cook that we've seen in these last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I agree. Shout out to my man Ren over on Instagram. He got the Eagles beating the 49ers 27-17. Let's get to the first game of the weekend. Rams at Panthers. Rams are heavy favorites. Now, keep in mind the Panthers, yes, they were 8-9 this year. They lost their last 2 games. So they kind of backdoored their way into the playoffs, pause. But they did beat the Rams early this year in Carolina. 27-24, I believe the score was in that one. Do you have any faith in the Panthers that they could do it again?
Nah, that's like I was saying. What he saying in the movie? The sun even shines on a dog's ass some days. Mm-hmm. Nah, I can't. I'm sorry. No, not this team. Not in the play. This is a team that is led by a veteran quarterback who has been there before and got the job done. No, I'm sorry. This is playoffs. This is when it really, counts.
I agree. I think the Rams get it done. Sean McVay. Sometimes losing a game could be a blessing for you. If they had dominated the Panthers early this year, this might be a spot where you're like, all right, they might sneak up on you. But the fact that they lost, I'm sure the Rams are going to be completely focused going into this game, knowing like, yo, last time we said they beat us, we're not letting it happen. Also, when they're
going to run them out the gym. They are going to run the Panthers out the gym.
Also, keep in mind too, last time they played, yes, Panthers won. Devontae Adams didn't play in that game. That was his first week that he missed after he had the hamstring injury. Mm-hmm. So, and I think Puka went out of that game for a little bit as well. I expect the Rams to be fully locked in and focused. I got the Rams winning as well. Packers at Bears. We talked a little bit about it earlier. I like the Packers in the spot, Trip. I like the Bears. Sorry, I like the Bears in the spot. Like I said, the Packers are banged up. Jordan Love's missed the last couple of weeks with the concussion. Josh Jacobs been hurt for the last month. No Michael Parsons. Xavier McKinley, I think, is a game time decision. So they, like I said, they banged up on offense and defense. Christian Watson's been dealing with a shoulder injury. The Bears played them really tough this year in both their games. They beat them in the second matchup. That was in Chicago. I think the Bears beat them again this time.
Fully healthy, I would go with the Packers. and I wouldn't even have to think twice about it. But because of all the injuries that Green Bay is dealing with, and the fact that Chicago is coming into the playoffs hot and they're healthy, I'm gonna go with Chicago.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an opportunity for Caleb and those guys, and unfortunately for the Packers, they make the big trade for Micah Parsons this year. They lose him. He was having a good season. He had 12 and a half sacks when he went down. They lose him. You probably out early in the playoffs, and now a lot of us, including myself, kind of question like, was the trade worth it, right? Because you gave up a first round pick for him. You'll get him back next year, but it was a missed opportunity because the NFC does seem wide open this year. It doesn't seem like there's a clear.
We don't know what's going to happen next year.
Right,
but this year,
right? Next year, the NFC could be a lot stronger. You might have missed a golden opportunity. All right, last game of the weekend is only right. We saved it for the last one because it is the Monday night game. The bullshit Steelers. I don't even know how they hit, Trip. I think we could point to at least 5 or 6 games this year where it's like I don't even know how they won.
Yeah,
they did it again last Sunday when they beat the Ravens. I don't even know how they won.
They're trying to keep Mike Tomlin, in the head coach spot, bro. That's all I can say.
Listen, man, they are at home, but they are 3-point underdogs to the Texans. I've said for weeks I really like this Texans defense. This is another one of them situations where unless Pittsburgh gets some turnovers early in this game, unless CJ Stroud does something really stupid early in this game, the Texans might have a 10-point lead at halftime. Because again, if they don't turn the ball over, if they just allow their defense to play, Steelers are not moving the ball up and down the field on this defense. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. The only way Steelers are going to win this game is if they get a couple cheap points off turnovers or short fields where they can just take advantage of a quick little 30-yard drive, 40-yard drive. But if they got to consistently go down the field, they are not going to do it against the Texans defense. I like the Texans, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this one on Monday. I'm going with the Texans in this game. I think it's going to be a quick send you guys back home type of situation. No struggle, nothing. We're going to show you that we're clearly the better team.
I agree. And Texans, I mean, let's not forget Texans. I know the Broncos had the long winning streak. I know the Patriots had a long winning streak. But really, second half of the season, the Texans have been the hottest team in football. And they've had some really good quality wins during that stretch as well, beating the Chargers, beating the Broncos. They beat the Chiefs. They're a good team. I think the Texans are going to win this game. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. Like I said, Steelers really their only shot because they're so limited offensively is to get a couple turnovers early and try to play with a lead. Because I think if they got to play from behind and Aaron Rodgers got to throw the ball against his defense, it's going to get ugly, bro. It's going to get ugly. We're going to wrap up on that note. We're going to talk off air. We're going to figure out if we're going to do the live Sunday night or another day. Sunday night seems pretty good. I'm cool with it, though, but we'll talk more off air. Trip, give me a final thought before we wrap up.
Oh, man. What's my final thought for tonight, man? You know what? Nah, I'm just gonna take this time to thank the supporters, man. Appreciate y'all as always. That's all.
Shout out to IG. I see the comment section just lit up. Ren he gave us a prediction, Eagles 27-17. He said Rams 31-13. He got Bears 24-20. Shout out to your cousin Jonathan. He's in there. He said, oh, well, go Birds. He got, I see Ren said Texans 28-14. And then Jonathan said Texans defensive anytime TD. I like those. Yeah, man. So just to recap, Trip, you taking the Rams, the Bears, the 49ers, the Bills, right? Who else? 49ers, Bills, Patriots,
Texans.
and then Texans.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. And then I'm doing mine against the money, against the spread. 10.5 is a lot, but I like the Rams to win. Cover that. I like the Bears getting 1.5. I like the Bills minus 1.5 in Jacksonville, though I've already said that is going to be a very tricky game. I would not be surprised if Jacksonville wins that game, but I'm going to go with Josh Allen to win that.
I'm actually stay away from that game as far as picking the window on the ticket. I'm just going to do the points and stuff.
Yeah, I might if I do a winner, I might live bet it just to see how the game is going and then pick somebody like in the middle of the game. But that's a tricky game, bro. Like I said, if Buffalo struggles to run the ball against that defense, it's going to get real interesting in Jacksonville. I like Philly. Like I said, they're gonna handle the 49ers. I think their defensive line is gonna feast on that O-line. Patriots to beat the Chargers and Texans on Monday night to win in Pittsburgh. For my brother Trip Young, Shout out Will Gordon. I know he was having some connection issues. We'll get back to it next week. And like I said, guys, we'll let you know. We're probably going to live stream during one of these games this weekend. We'll keep you guys posted on that. Again, Real Fans, Real Talk, Monday at 7 p.m. Next Wednesday, the Sanchez Show at 7:30 p.m. But for my brother Trip Young, my brother Will Gordon, I am Eric Sanchez. This was the Sanchez Show. We out of here. We'll see you guys this weekend.
Yes, sir.